Hi guys, welcome back to Scandinavian Alps Coffee here in the heart of Norway. We're here today talking about...
Blending in specialty coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big topic. And a little bit debated, I would say.
Very
because
debated.
Some roasters, famous roasters, say that we don't sell blends, we only sell single origin.
Yeah.
But you did the opposite. And can we just start about talking about what's a blend and what's a single origin coffee?
Yeah, so what is a blend? Well, a blend is any more than two components of coffees. And then I guess the difference between what a blend is and a single origin, for those people at home who don't know, is a single origin coffee is essentially a coffee that's come sourced through one country, one farm, or one washing station, or one estate. So I guess sometimes it's called an estate coffee, or but we would just call it a single origin coffee to keep it simple.
Only one country, one farm,
One
very
farm.
often.
Yeah, or one plot of farm
yeah.
on the farmers. So yeah, you can get into the nitty gritty of it. And then what is a blend? Well, yeah, so how we do it or why we do it is, well, that's a big question. That is a big topic to take up.
Why did you start blending your coffees?
That's a great question. I think it comes down to I've approached coffee as a food, which it is. And I've always been a big foodie and love cooking at home. So in terms of the culinary aspect, it's kind of a creative way. You can differentiate yourself from the market in terms of, like you said in Norway, not many people do it, right? Yeah. So that was one thing, just to be kind of stand out. You can also take two great coffees and maybe essentially make them better than the sum of their parts. So that's another reason.
Yeah, so you actually create the blend to make new taste experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you look at the best wines in the world, my dad and my uncle are really into wine. And the best wines are actually, most people don't know this, but they're actually blends. So they've used different grapes, different varietals. So, you know, why not? Why not do that?
Why do you think blend is like so debated in specialty coffee?
Well, yeah, I think it goes back to, you know, maybe not the big roasters, but I think roasters in the past using, you know, trying to use old coffee or get rid of old coffee as a way to, let's just make a blend and then kind of sneak some, you know, less quality maybe would be the way to do it. But we don't do that here. And I know other roasters that do blends. They just use their, you know, a high grade specialty coffee. They don't try and sneak anything, or so try and keep it transparent. Yeah. But what about you as a consumer? When you think blend, really, what was your first kind of?
I think when I first got into coffee, I was a bit skeptical when I saw roasters putting out blends.
Yeah.
Because like you told, I think maybe someone just was trying to get rid of coffee, and not saying what it is. But more and more when I started competing, I saw that people are starting to blend coffee to just highlight different attributes. I get the point more and more. But I'm still a bit surprised to see that there's not many roasters, especially in Norway, that does blends and does them really well. Yeah. So that's an interesting topic. But when you create a blend, for instance, like this, we have the National Day, the 17th of May coming up, and you have created the 17th of May blend. How do you approach that? How do you to make the perfect taste combination?
It really starts on the cupping table. So what we'll do is we all know the coffees, like Panda and I know the coffees here. So we know kind of, you know, it's just like if you're matching your dinner, you know, you don't just want a steak, you want some mashed potato or a nice salad with it or some sweet potato. So it's the same with coffee. You can kind of take the traits of one specific flavor profile. So let's say Brazil. So the components of the May 17th is a Brazil base, which is a pulp natural. So that's quite an earthy undertones, nice body in the coffee. And then we've matched it with a wash process coffee, so which has, you know, highlights a little bit more the higher notes. So you could think of it like also maybe like a sheet of music, right? You've got your bass notes, which the orchestra is playing, and then you've got your high notes. You've got your violinists and clarinets playing. So it's kind of and then if you match it together, you get a nice balance or harmony, I guess that would be the way. That's something that's really drinkable, super tasty. And then, I mean, one thing I forgot to mention is blends, I think you can't just start someone on a single origin, Kenyan or Ethiopian. We kind of think of it like skiing, that's kind of like the black run. A beginner skier would not want to be going on a black run. So blends is a great way, or associate them as green runs, easy drinking coffee, easy runs, kind of really palatable to people's taste buds, and then you kind of move them up up to the black run. So it's I think it's a great way to get into specialty, otherwise known as a gateway kind of blend. So that's why we do it, and we'll do that now, I guess. So I'll show you how we do it.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see how you actually, is it 50-50 or 60-40, or what you do when you create a blend?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit more of a creative process. So usually we'll start off with like a 50-50, right? And that's actually what this blend is. It's a 50-50 of the, and then you can kind of play with it. Okay, let's say we might even put a middle note in there. So maybe you've got a saxophone or some of those mid-sized instruments playing in the middle. So you can have your bass notes, your middle notes, and your high-end top notes. So we've got the Brazil bass. So what I'll do is usually on the cupping table, we'll just start with, we use 10 grams of coffee. So with this blend, it would be 5 grams, obviously, of the Brazil. So do that. Let's say, and then 5 grams of this washed Colombian. And I think keeping it simple, less is more kind of a philosophy. Not too many coffees, or otherwise it just gets a bit more muddled. So there, we would grind that. So I don't know if you want to grind that on the.
Let's try to grind it on the new Timemore grinder.
New
We got
Timemore,
a
yeah.
big shout out to Timemore for sending us this product to test.
Huge shout out, yeah. Thank you, Timemore, for sending some products to test out. So this is the Timemore Sculptor.
Yeah, it's been quite popular. I've seen it a lot on social media lately.
Yeah.
Really nice piece, nice design. Small.
Super
doesn't
small.
take too much space on the brewing bar.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so and it's also
Not
not
too
very
loud.
noisy.
No. Pleasant, especially if you're at 7 in the morning listening to the first thing.
I think especially for us three dads, we don't want to wake up the family with the grinding coffee early in the morning.
No. Nice.
I also have this knocker that is really easy to use, just to get everything in the cup.
Nice. You have a smell. Yeah.
Smells really good.
So you're looking for like high aromatic coffees, and then that work well together. So classic blends that you'll find on the market are, a Brazil, which is the biggest producer, and then you've got your Central American coffees, which I think, they pair really nicely too. So
have you seen blends becoming more popular now after the competition started to blend it?
Yeah.
Or more acceptable maybe?
Maybe in Norway, I'm not sure. I think it's definitely our most popular coffee. So we've got some here. That's the Honey Bunny, which was an Easter blend. So that was a component of actually 3 coffees. The Myth, this is one of our big sellers. And that's a blend of, it's actually almost the opposite. It's actually a little bit more Central American coffee with some Brazil. So people really like these chocolate nutty coffees. We've got the Midnight Moose. That's a dark roast, but we just roast 2 really nice high-end specialty Brazils. So there's no Robusta or any of these kind of cheaper coffees going into them, even though Robusta is not so cheap anymore. And then we've got the house blend. So I think one thing you'll find is with roasters is they do have a house blend. I know in North America or around the world, maybe who has a house blend in Norway?
I'm not sure. I think Solberg Hansen have some house blend.
Yeah, Solberg and Hansen has some nice blends. So that's our bigger seller, the house blend, which people they don't need to think too much about it, right? Oh, is it going to be too acidic or is it going to be hard to brew? That's another great thing with blends is they're more of like or at least ours are medium roast. So they're much easier to grind if you don't have a Timemore grinder. So that's another great thing. They're easy to extract.
So easier to enjoy actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And easier to brew, easier to enjoy. Because if you have like a single order in Ethiopia, for instance, if you're new to specialty coffee, it can be tricky to brew it.
Yeah, I think when I got into specialty, it was like what got better over time was it actually like my brewing and the equipment I started to upgrade to, or is it the coffee? Like I just really struggled with that. So, or was it my roasting got better? I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of a.
But you talked a little bit about the different blends you have. What is the highest number of coffees you have blended together?
I think it's no more than three. I want to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you get to 4 or 5, you're kind of.
I actually saw a competitor called The Road in Canada. I think it was Brewers Cup in 23.
Yeah.
He blended 5 different coffees. That is quite impressive to just.
And he won too?
He won, yeah.
Okay, well. So, but I've seen in competition they've used blended different species now, right? Like so Eugenioides, which is quite a rare species, versus Arabica, or is it Robusta?
Yeah. They are blending Eugenioides to really highlight the sweetness, because if Eugenioides doesn't have acidity at all, so sometimes you need to blend it with something else, more acidic coffees, to just score the right points, especially in competitions. But I actually saw that Patrick Rolfe, he won with the Eugenioides in last year, I think.
Okay.
So it's possible, but that's a completely different game than this one.
Yeah. And then also what you can do is blend. You might do the same coffee, but you blend or roast it a few different ways.
Yeah.
So you maybe have it more like, and I think the guys from Nucleus Tools suggested that you take 2 coffees, roasted different ways, but blend them together, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the same coffee, but you might get some low notes from the same origin, and then the high notes from maybe a lighter roast of the same coffee. So it's kind of cool.
Some guys that does blending really well is actually the commercial supermarket coffees, because if you buy supermarket coffee, it should taste like this. All the time.
Consistent. Yeah.
And that's maybe the best cuppers and the best buyers in the entire world, because they just really want to have that same flavor. How is that with your coffees? Because I guess people have some kind of favorite. I want to buy this coffee again because I liked it the first time. Are you able to create the same profile when you have new coffees coming in?
I think we do a pretty good job. I mean, it's quite challenging when coffees are coming or leaving the roastery. So we're trying to find similar flavor profiles to match it. So usually the one coffees that kind of run out is say like Guatemalan coffees, right? Because every coffee is harvesting and shipping at different times. So we'll replace that with some Colombian coffees. So that's one way. The biggest thing is actually when the Brazils start to run low at the end of, say, like after Christmas, and then the new fresh Brazils haven't come in till, it depends, depending on the shipping, maybe late January. So that can be tricky too. So there's definitely challenges when you're making blends. But yeah, I think we do a pretty good job, Panda.
Does the customers have some favorite blends that they often come back to, or is it like you told, is it a way to get more into other kind of coffees?
Yeah, there's definitely people who have their favorites. They'll come in and get, like the Lucky Lynx is kind of getting its cult status now with those fruity notes. I think everyone just likes, their favorite coffee is the one they like. So when people come in, we try to make sure that we ask them, what do they like and what they've had before. If they say they have the house blend, I'm like, okay, well, get the house blend. That's what you like, right? And then you might tell them to get another coffee to kind of push them in another direction, right? Or
how is that with that is maybe a reason why blending is debated, because it's like less traceability. But what is your approach to that topic?
It's hard to say. I think blends can be whatever you want them to be.
Yeah.
They're fun. And at the end of the day, they're fun, and that's what we try to bring here to this roastery is a bit more fun and openness, and not trying to be too snobby, like, oh, we're only single origin, or like it's a good way to make coffee fun, and I think we need that in the industry.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. And I think that's a really good point, because we don't want to be too snobby or too fancy.
Yeah.
And blending coffee in specialty coffee is debated, but when you see like the world stage competition, they actually blend. So we definitely think blending should be more acceptable and more used. I must personally say that I'm surprised that the big guys like Tim Wendelbo doesn't do that, because he could create new experiences. But
I see their point though. Like his philosophy is like, if you have a really good wine, why do you have to put another good wine in it? It's a good wine on its own, and I get that. I totally get that. So there's It's a big debate. It should be a debate, and that's what's kind of fun about just debating it too. So everyone's different. If you look at chefs, right, like the best chefs in the world, they all cook differently. They all do different dishes, right? But I think that's what makes food fun, right?
But you're not stopping blending.
No, God no. Yeah, we love it.
Should we try the 17th of May
Yeah, let's
coffee?
do it. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the components. It was Brazil and
Colombia. Yeah.
What, Colombia?
Yeah. So it's very similar to, like, say, our house blend. You know, it's just easy drinking, cozy, chocolate. What do you taste? Anything? It needs a bit hot, but let it cool down a bit here.
That's 7 minutes, so I think we should maybe wait 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
But it's round, sweet, like you told, it's easy, enjoyable for a lot of people. It's like a crowd pleaser, I would say.
It's a crowd pleaser,
If you have a 17th of May party with many different kind of people, not only coffee nerds coming in, I think definitely this will be a coffee that will suit everyone. Because I gave some Ethiopian washed coffee to some people some days ago, and this was just weed, and they wasn't into specialty coffee at all.
Yeah, well, that's James Hoffman, right? He says, especially coffee people, we're just weird coffee people, which we are in a little way, but that's what makes it fun too.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, because we can talk a lot about specialty coffee and competitions and blah blah blah, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's about what people like. So we give what people like, and I think we're really good at that. I'm really proud of what we do here. Yeah. And the blends, everyone kind of has their own fun favorite blend. So you know, the Midnight Moose, this dark roast. You know, not a lot of people sell dark roast, but you know, my dad loves dark roast. My uncle, my family loves dark roast coffee. I used to like dark roast. Yeah. So, but I don't like it as much anymore. But
the only thing with this kind of dark roasted profiles that we need to just adjust the brewing a little bit, go a little bit lower on temperature. Yeah. Like maybe 90. If I use this coffee as a pourer, I would say 90 degrees, maybe 88 to 89, and just do really coarse grind setting, and not too many pours, because each pour extracts more. And you don't want to extract all the bitter stuff from that kind of coffee, but if you just brew it correctly, it's really tasty.
And what about grind? What would you hit a grind on a medium darker roast?
I would say like go on the coarsest setting, like 30 clicks on the Comandante maybe.
Okay, so lower temperature, maybe a little bit coarser. What about total brew time? Shorten it up a bit?
Yeah, shorten it up. Around, if you brew like 300 mils, as I often do, because then it's 1 cup for me and 1 cup for my wife. Yeah. Around 2.5 minutes. Okay. Not any more, because if you push it too much, it could extract a little bit too much of the bitter stuff. But
and the May 17th, I think this was the first episode we did 1 year ago.
Actually, we are celebrating our first 1 year anniversary now on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's Norway's birthday.
Yeah, Norway's birthday.
For people who don't know.
Yeah, for people watching from outside of Norway. Yeah. It's a big celebration. People go out with the parade and flags and dress up.
Yeah, you do the parade too?
Yeah. With the kids.
With the kids, nice. You'll be in the pram, this year. Yeah, cool.
But the 17th of May blade, that's new for every year, because this is of course new coffees. Yeah,
it changes up, because obviously what we have at the roastery. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's great coffee. You can get that online starting today.
Before we finish off, I will also say that if you have coffees on your shelf, and you can try blending yourself at home. Yeah. Because if you have maybe 10 grams of this coffee and 5 grams of this coffee, just try mixing them together.
Yeah, my dad does that with his the last bit of his last bag. He kind of comes up with his dad's blend.
You don't want to throw away good coffee. You don't want to throw away coffee at all. So
no, not when it's at this price now. So yeah. But we're doing the giveaway, but we're gonna save that for next episode.
Giveaway. So we are still doing a giveaway. Yeah. People that subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, if you leave us a little comment, then we see who you are. Yeah. And you can actually win. What can you win?
We might even throw in a Timemore product now,
maybe.
Too. Yeah.
Maybe a Timemore product and some freshly roasted Esmeralda.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. Yeah. And anything else?
I think just people like us drink
coffee like this. Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
It's a good coffee. There's nothing to say about that.
Yeah, it's.
Ready?
Are we close enough?
Let's make
Are we close enough?
Let's make this a good one.
Are we close enough? Here, are we close enough? Okay. Just make sure we're kind of elbowed. Yeah. Because I always kind of do this, okay, don't I? I go off camera. Pen is like.
Let's make it a good one.
Yeah, let's make it a good one. We can make it a good one. Sorry, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I got like 3 hours sleep. So okay.
Let's do it. You said the introduction.
Okay.